Hi folks, my name is Marilyn York Reams and I'm so glad to be with you today. I'm glad that you're going to be joining us in our landscape quilting class. I'm going to take just a few moments here to share with you the type of fabrics that I want you to bring to class. I am, I've seen in a lot of years doing this, people coming and being quite disappointed in the end results because they're not paying attention to the values and hues and things that are important in a completed project. While many of us have a big stash, I'm one of those. I don't want you just digging around and finding little bits and pieces because we don't require large pieces of fabric for this project, but I want you to be thoughtful as you are picking your fabrics, whether you're at the fabric store or whether you're in your own personal stash. There's just a few little rules I want you to be aware of, and that the most important thing is that I want you to, in this particular project, we're going to be working with sky and we're going to be working with water. Whether you choose to kind of replicate the sample that you see on the website or whether you are going to change yours, and how you could change it. For instance, my project has a stormy sky, very cloudy, choppy ocean, and pardon me. You may choose to do a bright sunny sky, and instead of having like I have a lighthouse in my project that's the sample that you're looking at, you could choose to have a palm tree, bright sunny day, sandy beach. I'd like to show you a whole piece of fabric that I thought was pretty cool. This is just an old piece from Hoffman Fabrics, and let me hold it up for you. You can see it's a rather large piece, and at the bottom it starts with rocks and then graduates up. I would never use this entire piece myself, but what I would do in a project is kind of isolate. Let me just fold it here so you can see. I'm going to isolate this section, and you can see that we have the small rocks graduating up a little bit into the sand, closer to the water, the shallow water, and then a little bit further out. So on this piece, if you were comparing it to my sample up on the website, you would need only to add possibly a little more ground cover, more sand walking out to wherever the parking lot is or wherever it is you're coming from, and then add sky to the top. So this is a good example, which leads me into my next comments. Your job is to match, either to find your sky fabric first and then match your water fabric that will complement the sky. So in this case, I've got aqua tones in this. There is not powder blue in this particular one. So let me show you. I might choose this, for instance, as my sky. You see how beautiful that would blend. Here's another one. This is a little lighter fabric. Again, would just be beautiful. So a little brighter day. Can you see that? Can you see the difference? Now here's a third one. In my opinion, much too dark. While it would still blend with this, how many times do we walk out and see a sky looking like that? All right. So kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at your fabrics. In this case, the water was was already determined because it was part of this main piece. If you're not using a panel like this and you're starting from scratch like I did, the very first fabric on that sample that you see on the website actually was the rocks. You see these rocks. And so I found these, and then I saw that deep purple that looked like to me a dark stormy sky, and so I matched that to that. And then I found water that I thought would complement that. Now I want to show you this particular fabric because this is also in my sample piece. And this has a powder blue in it that does not complement this, nor did it complement my sky fabric. So what I did is I took fabric pens and inks, and I essentially over-dyed this piece of fabric so that it would complement the piece that you see in my sample. So that's another suggestion for you to be able to do, to utilize all these wonderful tools that we have out there at our disposal that will help make your project yours. You're the artist in this. I want you to be happy with your finished result. Let me show you a couple of other examples. So here is, this could either be sky or water. It looks like now I've got a moon. There's actually, here's a moon. Now you see that if I didn't use that and only used this part, I could turn that into water. In this case, it is a sky, but I'm trying to give you an example of this. I could potentially do that and then use this as a sky. I've also got another fabric here that I want to show you. This is a good example. This is just spectacular, gorgeous, choppy seawater. So this is a rather stormy day, and this is kind of a dark sky. But you see how beautifully these two fabrics would coordinate with one another. The values are the same, almost this grayish tone, grayish blue tone. So keep that in mind. If you match the the water fabric to the sky fabric and stay in the same range, your project will be absolutely stunning. I'm going to show you just a few other sky fabrics to give you some examples. And there's another, another, turquoise blue that we have. Here's a powder blue with very small scale clouds. Here is larger scale clouds, again in the darker blue, more in the powder blue range. Here is, I'm not sure what this looks like. It could potentially be a stormy sky, a brooding sky, still with some white clouds, but you see those gray clouds rolling in. So you have a lot of choices. The important thing is this guy right here, this color. You've got to make sure that that water fabric is going to blend with this. You absolutely must do that. Otherwise you're going to be really unhappy, okay, with your choice. All right, let's see, look at this one. Obviously, very dark and cloudy day. So you'd once again be looking for a stormy sea. That would look awful. This combination, no. So you would need to find a fabric that had some gray tones in it. Maybe this water, possibly. Okay, it's got the gray in it, is what I'm picking up here. So lots of different choices here. Okay, it's not my favorite, but you could get away with it. I don't think that's what you want to do in this class. I don't think you want to get away with something. I think what you want to do, because especially if this is your first your first landscape quilt piece, I want you to really love the fabrics that you use. Kind of stay away from patterned pieces unless you find that first sample that I just gave you, a piece like that. Here's a second one. Let me show you this one. This is another, that was another panel that's just stunning. Look at that. Sandy shore, and then leading into the waves as they hit the shore. I mean, this is just really fabulous. So all we need to do is add our water, add our sky up at the top, and again staying in these aqua tones. for the sky. You have a lot of choices here. There's quite a few color ranges. I would not use that. So just to give you an example, it does not look good to me. Ground cover, additional ground cover. You've got maybe more sand. Here's it's a beige fabric with little gold specks, and that could continue on and be my sandy shore at the bottom. And then I'd add the sky, and then whatever applique or embroidery we're going to do would complement this further. Let me also show you this panel. It's kind of odd. I would not want you to bring anything like this to class, but what I want to point out is that you could take a portion of it. For instance, I could add applique, an applique product on the back, and fussy cut this mountain without the girl coming out of the volcano. Say there's a girl coming. I'll never use that. But what I might do is fussy cut these palm trees. These would be beautiful. If that's what you're wanting to do, is a palm tree on yours with a brighter sunny day, then as you're looking at fabrics like this, think in terms of applique. So fussy cutting these unique pieces and putting them on a fresh background of solid fabric would be gorgeous. So look at things like that. Don't rule those out. And then the last thing I want to show you is some additional ground cover fabrics that I really love. I'm a McKenna Ryan freak, love them. This entire line is McKenna Ryan. Just kind of show you here, just a variety of these beautiful fabrics, and you saw many of these in my sample that you're looking at for our class. So these become just sections of ground cover leading up to the rocky shoreline that was in mine. Just looking for my rock fabric again. I've got fabric spread all over the table here, as you can imagine. My forte is not video filming, which leads me to, actually, let me just tell you, throw in this little plug. I actually do teach a class on Craftsy, if you're familiar with craftsy.com. Consider it a great privilege to be an instructor on that, and I actually do computerized embroidery editing class on there. So if you're ever, if you happen to have embroidery software and that's a passion of yours, by all means come and visit me on Craftsy. All right, so I just am so glad that you're joining us. Again, my name is Marilyn York Reams, and I'm so glad that you're going to be attending the landscape quilting class. We're going to have lots of fun and have a great time picking out your fabrics, and you will have my website and email access. If you have any further questions that you want to ask me about, I'll be happy to answer them. Have a great day. Thank you.